Avoid is a person who talks when you want him to listen. A perfect example would probably be my ex-boyfriend. I really was like, I'm a really young person, so this is my first year here, and it's a whole new experience. And I would tell him, oh, let's go to college, let's, do something with our lives. And he was like, oh, that's boring, this and that. And I really don't understand this, but I kind of understand what it's trying to say. He was like, he would only come to me when he had problems, and I would be very understanding with him, but over the time I would be like, oh, he's just bored. And over the time I started realizing those things, and I was like, it's time to break up. And it really affects me because I really wanted him to be part of my life, but he was just bored. And right now it's been quite a while that we haven't been talking and none of that. And now I see that he was just bored. And maybe I'm failing most of my classes because we procrastinated, but I procrastinated a lot, and I was trying to cram up all my assignments during the spring break, and the week before that I actually ended up going to the hospital because I was so overwhelmed with the medical field, and I started being pessimistic. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I don't think I even slept for 3 days straight and not eating, and I don't know how I made it out of life. And I was very pessimistic, and now that I see when I was recovering in the hospital that the nurses are good, if it wasn't for them, I probably would have been dead. And the more I was reading of the medical field, I started seeing mostly the cons, and it really affected me because a nurse is supposed to be helping, but there's just so many different factors and so many different fields, and it just really affected me. And I actually went with a psychiatrist, and I was just talking to her, and she was mostly taking notes about me, not really being there for me. So I don't know what happened there, but I'm just really thankful that the nurses in the hospital were there for me, and I actually ended up being one of the patients. So I kind of saw it from both sides. And now that I've been recovering, I don't know how many pounds I lost. I'm usually a skinny person, but I don't feel strong myself. So what I was talking to my mom is, you have to be strong yourself, your health, to help others. And I was just super overwhelmed with everything in the medical field, and I was just cramming up so many classes just to get to where I wanted to. And now that I know that I need to stop procrastinating, and I need to start taking things slowly and just learn slowly, because it just really affected me. Also, back to me. Sorry. But yeah, it just really affected me because people sometimes do a profession, and they're just there to actually just do their job, not just listen. I just see that as one of my experiences, as I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the one just taking notes on the patient. I actually want to be there for them. I want to help them, and I want to understand them for many things that they've been going through, and actually be there for them. And I really agree with avoid is a person who talks when you want him to listen. It's just really new to me, because overall, I feel like my life has been a joke, and it's just really affected me in many things. But now I know that I'm gonna do better. Maybe not this semester trying to catch up with all my assignments, but next semester I'm gonna do a lot better.
Right, well, you just start with the quote as your attention device. That's a little bit problematic. You've got an example that you're going to start with, and I thought, okay, well, maybe this is going to be limited because you just have the one example. There's not really a preview of what the supporting structure is going to be, and I guess you mostly are agreeing with the quote. However, once we get past that one example about breaking up with the boyfriend, there doesn't really seem to be anything else that's connected to the original quote. You go off on some other topics. And those topics are interesting, but like I said, it feels rather hit or miss. It doesn't feel like there's an organizational plan. It's just a stream of consciousness speaking to the audience, and there's not really a particular point that you're making. Maybe you've got a second thesis idea that you're talking about concerning procrastination and putting work off. How it's connected to the original quote, that's a little abstract, but I like the fact that you keep trying and you keep speaking to us. I do notice that you remain fairly fluent throughout the presentation, even though there are times when you're shifting topics and it's not clear where you're headed. At least you fearlessly kind of keep pursuing it. So I think that that's a good thing, but you need to have a lot more focus and planning in what it is you're trying to say. Filling the time is not necessarily the best thing. Making a point, I think, is the thing that is the most important for you here. You have a quiet voice, so you have a tendency to drop off whenever there is a little bit of uncertainty in your voice, so you want to be careful about that. You're doing okay looking at us. Once in a while I think I see a little bit of a nervous smile, but your expression seemed like you're sincere, and I thought that you got more confident as you went along in the presentation. You do hold the topic in your hands for the first half of the presentation. You've got the little quote strung between your two hands, and you keep looking up and down at that, and you're not playing with it, but it does limit you a little bit. I thought you got better in the second part of the speech when you sort of went off on your tangents, and it was less focused on that piece of paper. Then you seem like you're more engaged in what you're talking about, but again, there's not really a point that you're headed there. All right, thank you.